Hey everybody, and today we're going to be talking about element number 30, aka zinc. We're going to be talking about its properties and how you can get it at home for your own element collection. Let's get started. One of the many everyday uses for zinc is in pennies, but specifically any pennies made after 1982. Now, right next to Lincoln's face, you can see a date on it. If it's after 1982, that means it's mostly zinc, 98% maybe. But if it's made before 1982, it's mostly copper, with a little bit of zinc, but not much. And because of this, they have very different reactions. Now, zinc is an inherently pretty reactive metal. So, like any reactive metals, it interacts like an acid with HCl. So, in order to, prove that this is a post-1982 penny, I can drop it in some and see if there's a reaction. Now, I had to scrape off some of the copper outer coating, but as you can see, that bubbling is the zinc reacting with the hydrochloric acid to form hydrogen gas in zinc 2 chloride. And this is a classic reaction, and let's compare that to what happens if you do it with pre-1982 pennies. Here goes the pre-1982 penny. And unlike last time, you notice that it doesn't bubble. This is because it's mostly copper. Copper is pretty inert. Zinc, on the other hand, which is just one atomic number away, is very reactive and pretty much react with any acid. So this is a way to test if you, for some reason, can't read the date. Now, just to show you the full reactivity of zinc, I'm going to put in an ordinary scrap piece of zinc and show you the reactivity levels. Now, that is reactive zinc. That's how reactive it is. It interacts with pretty much anything and is known as one of the reactive transition metals. As you can see here, this is zinc. You noticed it's in the D-block transition metals and has an electron configuration of 4s2, 3d10. Now, 3d10 is exceptionally stable. So all it has to do is get rid of these 2 electrons, and it gets to this configuration. But even then, its normal config is also kind of stable. This means the metallic bonding is going to be very, very weak. So zinc naturally has a lower melting point than most of these metals. Actually, very low. It boils very easily, and it melts very easily, and I'll demonstrate that. So as you can see here, I'm melting zinc, and I had to speed it up because it's kind of annoying. You can notice a green flame there. That's from zinc oxide and I believe a little bit of copper, but it melts pretty easy. As you can see, the pennies have melted together here. This represents zinc's low melting point, which can be used to make one of your first metal element collections, zinc. As you can see, here's an ingot here that I just got from simply blowtorching it. Now, zinc also has a low boiling point, so be careful of breathing in any fumes zinc may generate, because it can cause metal fume fever, along with a bunch of other stuff with melted coins. Just stay safe while doing it. But this is a great beginner metal, and it shows reactivity, it's easy to achieve, and they are phasing out pennies, so might want to get pennies while you still can if you want zinc. And yeah, using just pennies, you can get stuff like this, which is a relatively pure sample of zinc. So yeah. Zinc is used a lot in everyday life. I mean, a big one is batteries, actually, and that's a pretty good source of it. Zinc supplements, you can see the human body requires zinc. It's good at fighting off colds, all that type of stuff. So zinc is overall just an important element. It's pretty simple, pretty common, and is really just a nice beginner element. Now that's going to be it for today with zinc. Because zinc is a relatively common element, I would recommend pennies being your best sort, but there's a lot of different alloys out there. So if you want to use pennies as your element collection, go ahead. Just make sure they're after 1982. This is going to be my first how to collect element, because zinc's a relatively easy one, and I'm going to mark this down as the first one. I think next up I might do something like hydrogen, but I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you learned something about zinc. Obviously, pennies are only one way to get zinc. If you really want to do chemical extraction wise, you can dissolve zinc in sodium hydroxide and then, electrolyze the solution, and you'll get zinc powder. Great to get zinc powder for thermites or whatever. But I would say for your element collection, just melt the pennies into an ingot and call it a day, bro.